Kate, thanks so much for joining us. This is an interesting call here because TJX is one of those retailers that really counts on its stores for that treasure hunt experience. E-commerce is not really a big part of its strategy. Why an outperform on this name when thousands of stores are closed?
First of all, thanks very much for having me on. Listen, what I would say is, certainly we recognize that the near-term results are obviously very challenged for TJX, certainly with store closures. Traffic is inevitably going to be, down when the stores finally reopen. That being said, taking a longer-term view, TJX has been, the biggest share gainer looking at our space coming out of the financial crisis since 2008, 2009. Really leveraging the consumer's draw to value. And I think, as the U.S. is contemplating a recessionary environment, the consumer will inevitably be drawn to value coming out of this. Certainly when we look at TJX in the environment, we expect retail bankruptcies, industry consolidation is going to continue, and they are likely to be the biggest share beneficiary globally, coming out of this, on top of the fact that product availability just in the wake of all these store closures, is going to be very ample, which we also expect will benefit TJX as well as other off-price players currently.
I was just going to go to that point about the inventory and the dislocation that we might see once things get back up and running again, which of course none of us know when that is going to be. How would that play through the inventory for an off-price seller like a TJX by the time they get their hands on some of that merchandise? Will it be for the next selling year? And then how does that impact the balance sheet?
Yeah, no, I think you already see off-price players, including TJX, use, pack away, using inventory, that they see in the marketplace and, allocating it for, future seasons. I think right now, thousands of stores are closed across the U.S. There's going to be ample supply coming out of that. Likely you are going to see, TJX as well as other off-pricers, leverage the use of pack away in order to, tuck that inventory away for future seasons. So, we would expect, that certainly to be the case coming out of this.
If we can pivot sort of to the broader retail sector, I am a little bit concerned about what happens to a lot of these employees. Yesterday, we saw the parent company of DSW laying off effectively, even if temporarily,
right,
80% of its workforce. If you're a retail employee, what does the future hold for you?
It's been interesting. We've, seen announcements on store closures these last few weeks where a lot of these retailers were, indicating their intent to pay their employees for, 2 weeks. I do think, particularly, as we're coming out of that 2-week period, a lot of retail workers are part-time employees. I do think that is going to be one piece where, if these retailers are trying to clamp down on expenses, manage the, margin deleverage that they're going to see with the decline in sales, unfortunately, I think you're going to see some of those employees get let go.
And what do you think, Kate, as we look at the broader retail landscape and the other side of this, whenever that may be, beyond TJX and perhaps some of the other off-pricers in your space, who else might be worth looking at for an investor here, particularly after some pretty sharp sell-offs in a number of these names?
Right. Well, I think importantly right now, we don't know the duration of this event. We don't know how long the store closures are going to be in place. So, what you need to prioritize right now is certainly, cash positions and balance sheet strength. So, for us, looking out across the landscape, certainly, off-price screens very well in terms of healthy, cash positions. So, we again are prioritizing, Ross, for example, TJX. We also very much like Lululemon, for example, again, very strong balance sheet, limited leverage, and again, a very, attractive category exposure. So, certainly, we need to prioritize, the strength of the balance sheet right now.